Reading questions is a very rarely practiced skill, and yet it's so important. So we talked about reading time, how to use it and how to make the most of it. Well, also when we do have writing time, we want to be able to read our questions in a lot of detail and also mark out the bits that are important. So it's essential that you identify all important info. So use a highlighter or underline it with a pen, put an asterisk or something. But what should we be looking for? We're looking for things like important dates, amounts, when's balance day, what's the period length, what's the markup percentage, any document numbers, any discount periods like credit terms and so on. There's a whole bunch of things that we need to be looking out for. So what we should do is read questions and then sort of test ourselves. So this question here, if you read it, seems quite benign. There doesn't seem to be a lot of detail in that because most people look at it and they just look for numbers. So I can see 30 days and 50% cost. And you think, oh, okay, that's 2 bits of important information. There's actually a lot more than that. First of all, the first bit of info that I think is important is it says this business sells umbrellas. Why is that important? Well, anything I see to do with umbrellas in the question is going to be stock. If I'm buying it, that goes in stock control. If I'm selling it, that's a revenue. Next, it says they are used by cafes and restaurants. Well, that's really important. Why? Well, that's going to be my customers. They're going to be my customers and my debtors. So any business that sounds like a cafe or a restaurant, I'm going to be able to identify that that's someone I made a sale to. The business uses only one supplier. That's a really important detail because if I'd written that question, I'd follow that up with a discuss. Should you actually use a control account for creditors here? Do they and should they? Because you only have one supplier. So that's a really important thing to pick up from that question. It says the creditor offers 30-day terms. That's obviously important. Where our eyes are drawn to the numbers, so you probably pick that one out. So we can evaluate now. Do we have an average time it takes to pay back creditors? Do we know anything about discounts and so on? We've only got one supplier, so we really want to hope we're paying them on time because otherwise they might stop selling to us. Now we have the fact that sales are made on both the cash and credit basis. Well, that's really important because I'll now need to know if I get ledgers or the income statement. I'm going to need to split sales into cash and credit. Also, if I'm doing a stock control ledger, my cost of sales figure will be in 2 amounts. Next, I have the 50% markup on costs, so I'm going to be able to use my cost of sales formula there. Here's a really important bit of info. I prepare reports monthly. So if I prepaid something for 6 months this month, well, obviously I've only used 1/6 of it by the end of the period. And that also means when we're looking at for balance day and making our adjustments, whatever month we're in, it'll be the last day of that month. Lastly, it says all the journals have been prepared up to the 27th of May. So I'll need to go and find or record, presumably, the transactions from the 28th of May to the 31st because they haven't been done. And you can actually see that. Usually when you get given journals, you have the last day of the period and then it just says totals. This doesn't. It has the 27th of May and it says totals to date, which is very important.